Are you afraid of speaking in English? You freeze when you have to speak English in front of other people? Don't worry, I've been there. When I was learning English, one of the biggest challenges for me was overcome that fear of speaking English. And today I want to tell you what things worked for me and now can work for you to overcome that fear of speaking English. All right, so pay attention. I want to start by telling you that the fear of speaking English is normal. I mean, you are not different from 100,000 millions of students that are afraid of speaking English. All right, but don't worry, today we will find a solution for that. The first thing you have to do if you really want to overcome that fear is start small with simple sentences. Sometimes we have that fear of speaking English because we want to use complex sentences. We want to use advanced level sentences or difficult words to explain, to have conversations, and it's not necessary. If you can say it in simple words, then that's okay. You don't have to say, I don't know, very polite expressions to speak English. If you can say, I am fine, thank you, just say it. Little by little, you will incorporate new vocabulary. But at the beginning, if you feel safe talking with simple sentences, then just do it. There's nothing bad using simple sentences at the beginning. Then you will see, you will find, and you will learn new vocabulary. But at the beginning, start small with simple sentences, please. The second thing you have to do if you want to overcome that fear of speaking English is practice speaking alone. Yes, I know it can sound crazy, but speaking alone, you can speak to yourself. It's an excellent way to overcome that fear. I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, teacher, the problem is when I have another person in front of me. Yes, but at the beginning, you can imagine that you are your own other person talking to. That helps with practicing. You can practice the questions, for example, and the answers. And if you want to go even further, you can record your questions and answer to yourself those questions. But talk to yourself is an excellent way to practice your English, to memorize the questions you want to make, and to overcome that fear of speaking English. All right? The third thing you can do to overcome the fear is focus on communication, not perfection. It is similar to the tip number 1. The important is that people understand you, right? So why would you use difficult words or complex sentences, complex vocabulary to express yourself? The only thing you have to do is that people understand what you're saying. So focus on that. Focus on expressing what you want to say and not just showing that you know English. Forget about that, all right? The important is communicate. Communicate in English, not perfection. You don't have to sound perfect. Your pronunciation doesn't have to be perfect to speak English. Even my pronunciation, if you find you're gonna find some words or I don't know, something that you say, this is not a native speaker, and I am not. I am not a native speaker. I learned English many years ago. That's why I'm telling you this. It is not necessary to speak perfect English, to communicate in English. You can do it with basic English. Now, you have to improve, of course. You have to improve your pronunciation, intonation, accent, etc. But at the beginning, use what you have to communicate. That is the main idea of the tip number 3. Number 4, don't be afraid to say, this is a very important sentence, I don't understand. I don't understand, teacher. I don't understand you. Sorry, I didn't understand. That's okay. Usually, when I have classes with my students, I say, do you have any questions? And many of them don't say anything. I mean, but you can see the face. You can see that in their faces, they have a lot of questions. They want to say, teacher, I don't understand, but they don't do it. Why? Don't be afraid to ask, to express that you don't understand. You have to do it because it is a great opportunity to understand. And the same happens when you're talking to other people in English. If the person is talking to you about whatever, if you don't understand, say it. Say, I don't understand. Can you repeat that, please? Can you slow down? Can you say that again, but slow? Say it. I mean, don't be afraid to say that you don't understand, okay? If you really want to improve, if you really want to overcome that fear, you have to do it. Don't be shy. I always tell this to my students. Learning a language is for people who are not shy. And if you are shy, then you have to change that. Because in that way, you're never gonna improve or learn new things. You have to stop. I know it's difficult to say. It's easy to say and difficult to do, but this is something you have to do. All right, you have to do it. And number 5 is imagine conversations in advance. What is conversations in advance? I used to do it. I still do it sometimes, but I used to do it when I was learning English. I'm talking about 18 years ago, 20 years ago. It's, for example, if I had an interview the next day, I used to practice one day before or weeks before that interview. I imagine that interview, the questions and the answers, and I try to investigate, create the questions, create the answers, and practice. No, speaking alone if I didn't have a partner to practice. Another example is the classes I used to have in my classroom with my teacher. If I knew that we're going to talk about technology in the next class, then I investigated about technology. I created questions or took notes about interesting words, interesting facts, and then I used them in class. And I felt like I can speak English because I imagine those conversations, those topics, sentences, words in advance. Okay, I didn't wait until I get there. Obviously, you're not gonna always do the same, but sometimes it helps a lot. Helps a lot. If you know that tomorrow you're gonna see your friend, and your friend is I don't know, a lawyer, for example, and you want to talk to him or to her in English, then investigate a little about laws and, I don't know, some news maybe, or politic, I don't know. If you're going to go to a restaurant and you're going to order the food in English, prepare the question, investigate. I want to give you an example. I went to Europe last year. I went to France, and I don't speak French very well. And I prepared some questions about how much is it? Can you give me the menu, please? How long does it take to go to one place to another? And many phrases and questions that were very useful for me. And I had the opportunity to practice. I knew the question, I knew the vocabulary, so I was not very afraid to ask because I knew I was correct. I knew what to say. So this is a powerful technique if you really want to overcome that fear of speaking in English. All right? Finally, I want to remind yourself something very, very, very important. That is, it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes. That is the only way to improve something. Not only English, whatever you want to learn. If you don't make mistakes, then you are not improving. You don't know what you're doing wrong, so you don't know what to improve. So it's okay to make mistakes. Don't be afraid. All right? Don't be afraid to make mistakes. It is part of the process. You are learning. You are not an expert. If you were, you wouldn't be watching this video, right? So it's okay. Even I make mistakes. I have been a teacher for more than 15 years, and I continue making mistakes about everything. Even my vocabulary, listening, reading, grammar. We all make mistakes. That's part of learning, and that's part of being a human being. All right? So it's okay to make mistakes. Don't panic. Okay? Don't be afraid of doing it. So I'm totally sure that if you do these 5, 6 things, you're going to overcome that fear of speaking English. All right? And what did you like more? I want to know. Write it in the comments. I would really love to read you. And if you like the video, please like it and share it with a friend. I will see you in the next video. Take care.